And now, without further ado, please give a warm welcome to former Arizona police officer and radio host, Brandon Tatum.
What's going on? What's going on? It's so wonderful to be here. I can't believe how many people are in this room. I can't believe how many patriots are in this room. How many people who love this country, who love God, and who gonna stand for what's right. It just gives me energy when I see it all. So what I want to talk about is two major things. I want to talk about policing, and I want to talk about the power of the mind. Policing in America. The way people are portraying police officers today is shameful. The men and women who put on that uniform, who pin that badge on, who walk away from their families, their aspirations and dreams in their personal life to support, to die for perfect strangers should get a round of applause. In my personal opinion, there is no greater sacrifice than to die for people that you don't know. And police officers do that every single day. I want to give you a quick story about how I became a police officer. Never thought about being a cop a day in my life. I was growing up. I got arrested when I was 8 years old for smoking weed in a vacant house. So my first experience with police wasn't that flavorful in a good way. But I got to a point in my life where I need to make a positive decision as a strong man. I had to support my child. And I applied for everything in the city of Tucson, and the police department, that application was one of them. Never thought about it. One night, I had a disagreement with my son's mom at the time, right? I think we were arguing about like an engagement ring or something like that. The next morning I wake up, I get a phone call from the Tucson Police Department. And I will never forget, I picked up the phone, they said, it's Tucson Police Department, and I'm like, she called the police on me. Why would she do such a thing? And then they said, hey, Mr. Tatum, you applied for the job. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever you need. Whatever y'all need, I'm down now. But I knew nothing about policing. I only watched Cops when I was young, so I knew nothing about what was going on. And I said, I need to do a ride-along. So I pulled up on the officer. His name is Sean Payne. I'll never forget Sean Payne. He's the greatest officer I've ever met. I pulled up on him in my private vehicle. I said, hey, man, I want to do a ride-along. And he let me ride with him. And it blew my mind. We started from changing the flat tire of an elderly lady to going what we call code 3, license siren, 70 miles per hour down the road, almost died twice, to save a kid who was currently trying to commit suicide. When they kicked the front door in, they went in, I was able to look around the corner. The kid was literally in the back cutting his wrist. And Sean Payne saved his life. And I'll never forget that. And so after all this happened, Sean got in the car. We got back in the police car, and I remember my heart was just racing. Before we went to the car, he was asking me about my family. And so when we got back in the car, he began to ask me about my family again, and I couldn't even remember I had a family. I was like, what are you talking about? I was completely mind blown that man had did what I saw him do. And at that point in my life, it's the first time I ever saw a hero, a real hero. Now, I played football my whole life, and I thought those guys were great. Nothing against football players and athletes. But when I saw that man turn into a hero and save lives, and he do it every single day, it impacted me. And I became a police officer. And contrary to what some of these leftist lunatics will tell you, As a black man on a majority white Hispanic police department, I did everything on the police department. I was a field training officer. I was a general instructor. I was on the SWAT team. I was a spokesperson for the police department. That means I represented the police department in front of the news, representing our values and different things that we had to speak on. I did all of those things. And I loved every minute of my service as a police officer. And today, I see a huge issue with the way they're portraying the actions of the men in blue today. I think it's a tremendous issue that I see because they perpetuate a complete lie. This whole police oppression, police brutality, it's a lie. It is a lie. I'm gonna keep it 100. It's a lie. Do police officers bludgeon people? Yeah, that's far few in between. They're not out here just hunting black folks down. That's not happening. I'm not afraid of the police officer when I leave my house because I'm black. They're going to pull me over for no reason. That's a lie. If I'm not committing crimes, then I'm not going to interact with police often at all. And there's not going to be a time where a police officer is going to go gun me down while I'm sleeping in bed. That's not going to happen. They lied about what happened to Breonna Taylor. They lied about what happened to Jacob Blake. They fluffed the story at what happened to George Floyd. They leave out details that leave black people afraid and terrified when they shouldn't be. I tell young people all the time, don't be afraid of the police. Won't you become a police officer? Won't you pick up an application, put down the protesting signs and all of that stuff? Why don't you become a police officer so you can patrol in your community and you can be the difference that you want to see? How is that too difficult? And I want to say this because this is the story that's hot right now and it made my brain explode. Why in the world is Jacob Blake's name on football helmets? Why are their names on the back of jerseys being flaunted as individuals who are heroic? There is nothing heroic about assaulting a woman, fighting police officers, trying to go to the front of the car with a knife in your hand. There's nothing heroic about that. And nobody want to keep it real, but I'm going to keep it real. There is no excuse to resist arrest. And I tell young people this all the time. I can't control what every police officer does. You can only train them so much. What do you expect? They're not God. But what you can do is you control how you react to police officers. When they pull you over, follow the law, follow the rules. Sometimes you may be pulled over for no reason. It doesn't matter. But what you can control is what matters. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Be respectful. It's not a debate. This is not curbside justice. You don't need to make a point right now. You need to live through this interaction. And it's not just reserved for black people. It's for all of us. We all get pulled over by police. And as a former police officer, it's no one color or one race that I'm more afraid of. And I'm not afraid of race in general. I'm afraid of a gun. I'm afraid of you killing me. It has nothing to do with your race. And when we decide as a society to work on the introspective portion, meaning working on yourself and how you interact, I think we'll have better interactions with police officers. I want to jump into another subject along the same lines, but a gentleman I was debating with, we were at a church. It wasn't a debate, it was a conversation. And the reason why we were able to have a conversation and not necessarily a debate is because we understood one fundamental principle, is that we're both children of God. We are children of God first. That goes beyond politics, that goes beyond anything else. So we were able to have a dialogue and a conversation. One thing that bothered me that this man said, and I have the utmost respect for him, is that he had mentioned that he cannot wait to the day where his child or grandchild, he's a black man, will have the same opportunities as the white pastor's grandchildren. And it bothered me a little bit as a Christian because I'm questioning, what God are you serving? What God are you, who are you reading about? Because the last time I checked, there is no door a white man is going to close that God has already opened for me. I don't believe in white privilege. I believe in Christ's privilege. And for the life of me, I could not understand how that pastor could perceive things that way. Because you become what you believe in your mind. If you're walking around every day and you're perceiving you're going to have negative interactions with, you're going to have negative interactions. If you're walking around and you think everybody's after you, the white man is following me around and everywhere I go, and they just trying to get me. I got to work 3 or 4 times as hard as everybody else. That's what you're going to get. But if you keep in your mind that I'm a powerful child of God, meaning that the words that I speak will be manifested, the things that I say, the God that I serve can manifest the things that I want to happen. And if you believe that, you will achieve it. I do not waste a moment of my life complaining and making excuses. Excuses will get you nowhere in life. Nowhere. I spend my time dreaming about accomplishing great things for other people. And that's the difference. Serving is where we build who we are. Service. If you want to be successful or the things that you want to see happen, you need to serve another person in that manner. For instance, if you want to be prosperous when it comes to money, finances, then how about you give to other people and help them become prosperous? That's how it will come back to you. And I really want us to hone in on this is the service component. We need to serve more. We need to have the servant mentality more. Our minds shouldn't be to argue or be upset with our brothers and sisters. It's how can I love you and serve you like Christ would? How do we do that? And once we start getting to that level, I think that we'll see a better America. We'll see a better place. And it makes me happy to see everybody in here of all races, colors, ages, you name it, sitting here together, listening to such a good event. And when I see that, I see an example of what America really looks like. This is America. This is America, where we love one another, we appreciate one another, we can sit next to one another, not looking at color of your skin, where you came from, where you're going, but that we are all children of the Most High God. And it's really that simple. It's that simple. It's that simple. I want to finish it with this. And if anybody watched my YouTube channel, I say I'm going to finish in about 30, 40 more minutes, and I'm still talking. But I think we need to be active in our pursuit of political things, right? This event is not about Republican or Democrat. I could care less. The way I look at politics, the way I look at life, everything in my life, I look at it from a spiritual sense. What would Christ want me to do in this arena? When you talk about crucial things like abortion, gay marriage, all of that stuff that make people all weird on the inside, you should be focusing on what is God saying about this? And when I look at what God says about who you should marry, what marriage really is, when I look at what God is saying about giving life, I believe that life starts at conception, not perception. When you look at those things, That's where you should get your political stance from, not these party lines. And I find it very mysterious when I see Christians going on a side that's counterproductive to Christ, counterproductive to God. How in the world are you Christian and you see these politicians out here advocating for you to go to a clinic and get rid of God's children? Every time you get rid of a life, that belongs to God. That's not yours. How do you support politicians like that? It is beyond me. When you see politicians that are more concerned with the same-sex thing than they are concerned with the house of God, we have a problem. Nothing, and it's nothing against if you want to sleep with whoever you want to sleep with, that's on you. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That's between you and God. I didn't make the rules, that's him. Don't kill the messenger. But at the end of the day, I want to see a person who's going to represent the faith. I want to see somebody who's going to say, no, church can stay open because it's essential. I better stop before I start preaching. It's really that simple. It's that simple. It's that simple. If we actually produce what we believe, meaning that we stuck by the rudiments of Christ, stuck by the rudiments of what the Bible says, there ain't no way in the world we won't be a better country. There's no way we won't get along more. There's no way we can't create policies that make everybody, and not make everybody happy, but be productive for each one of the people that are sitting in this room. There's no way we can't do that. So I'll encourage you, because I don't know what side of the aisle you sit on, and I don't even care. I will encourage you to think about what Christ would do, how Christ would want you to behave, and I want you to do that. And I just want to finish by saying thank you. Thank you guys for coming out here. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere else. You could have gone to any other event, which is probably hard to believe since Candace Owens is here. But you could have done any other thing, but you found yourself dedicated, committed here to support the Blexit movement. So I just want to say thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause. God bless you, and the show will continue.